My girlfriend and I have been together for almost 3 years. 99% of the time, we're great. She's funny and smart, and we have a lot of shared interests. But every time we visit her family, I start doubting everything. They are very wealthy, which by itself is not a bad thing, but they're also very fixated on being rich and have a habit of placing the monetary value of things and people over everything else. I come from a very middle-class background. I have a good education and a decent career that I really enjoy, but I'm definitely not rich. Because of this, they view me as a loser. For example, yesterday we made the 2-hour drive to her parents in my newish Honda. When we got there, her mom immediately ordered me to park the car behind the house so the neighbors wouldn't see it. She was furious we didn't bring girlfriend's Land Rover, which they bought for her as a birthday gift this year. My girlfriend doesn't like to drive on long trips, and I'm not allowed to drive the Land Rover, per her parents, so we brought my Honda. Girlfriend's dad has never spoken to me directly. Even when she introduced me the first time, he turned to her and said, "What does he do?" So we went in the house, and I gave her dad the usual, "Hi, Merry Christmas," and he gave me the usual disinterested glance. One more example. Last year, I made the mistake of bringing a bottle of wine. It was a $25 bottle, which was pricey for me, and I even had the wine store lady help me pick it out. My girlfriend's mom told me to put it in the kitchen. They didn't open it while we were there, and she later admitted to girlfriend they'd re-gifted it to their housekeeper because it was gas station hooch. We managed to get through the day yesterday without much drama, except the car thing, which I'd normally consider a win. But today, I keep thinking about the whole situation with her family and wondering if I'm really willing to deal with these people for the rest of my life. Girlfriend and I have tossed around the possibility of getting married more than once, but I know they'll never accept me. If we get married, I'll have to see them a lot more than once a year. Girlfriend has given up trying to defend me to her parents and just ignores their rubbish most of the time. But I can tell it bothers her too. They bankroll a big chunk of her lifestyle, and I think she's worried they'll cut her off if she pushes too hard. They've threatened to over other things. So, not to sound like an butthole, but am I wasting my time? Is this relationship doomed? My girlfriend always tells me she doesn't care what her family thinks, but I'm not sure that's true. She always tries to downplay how crappy they are to me, but I know I'll never be good enough for them, even if I'm good enough for her. Relevant comments. Somebody said, your girlfriend needs to be able to live without her parents' money before you consider marrying her. At the moment, they are waiting for you out, but probably do small things to undermine the relationship. They view you as the fun their daughter is having before she settles down for something real. They probably exclude you from vacations they would take her on, or family events. When they take a family photo, they probably ask you to take the photo. Wealthy parents use money to control their adult children, as they have no other avenue to do so, and they are used to being in control of everything. They get the kids addicted to nice things, then make demands to continue the flow. Once they deem it serious, they will work to prevent the marriage, as they do not think you will be able to provide the lifestyle they want for her. They will withdraw funding for her dream wedding. They'll have legal documents drawn up detailing inheritance, divorce, child support, alimony, etc. for the relationship. They'll do anything they can to add stress to break it up, and they'll be very good at it. I grew up in a wealthy community, so I've met all sorts of rich people. Your girlfriend's parents are the dumbass sort of rich people. With the importance of material goods they place and the way they act, I'd also wager they're also probably not as wealthy as they want you to think they are. Original poster replied, "Just reading this made me tired. I don't want anything to do with her family's money for pretty much every reason you just stated, though that hasn't stopped her mom from calling me a gold digger. Her parents do control her with money. My girlfriend is co-owner of a business and has a decent income of her own, but her lifestyle is way beyond what she's bringing in. She's really bad at managing her own money. Has never had to make or stick to a budget and doesn't have much of a grasp on priorities when it comes to spending. Her parents pay for her townhouse and her credit cards. Whenever they get mad at her, they threaten to suspend her cards, and she freaks out because she doesn't have any of her own money set aside. Another commenter also replied, "She's really bad at managing her own money, has never had to make or stick to a budget, and doesn't have much of a grasp on priorities when it comes to spending." Somebody said, "Your girlfriend is 28, have a stable relationship for 3 years, and yet daddy is still paying for her stuff. This alone is a red flag for me." People often talk about mama's boy, but ignore how equally stupid is to grow-ass women acting in the same way. If she got her crap together, none of you would have to deal with their BS. But not only she apparently doesn't do it, but also focuses her efforts on making their behavior look not that bad. That's not a good sign. Imagine a few years from now your mother-in-law making you look like hell in front of your children, or father-in-law not even looking at your face but spoiling them with a damn ton of expensive gifts. You'll never be able to buy for them. Because if things keep like this, that's exactly the future you'll have. My advice is, have a talk and be honest about how you don't see this situation getting better, how you honestly are tired of it, and offer your support to her, get on her own feet, and have freedom. If she accepts the help, you guys can make it work. If daddy's money is too important, you'll know that this is a waste of your time. Update I posted a few days ago on a throwaway account, thinking it probably wouldn't go anywhere, but hoping a few more experienced internet strangers might give me some insight. It got some attention, and there was some solid advice and a lot of perspective on the whole situation, and I was like, okay, that was enlightening, and went on with my day. Girlfriend was working that night, so there wasn't much to do with all that info at the time, and I fell asleep while attempting to formulate my side of the big talk. Little did I know that post blew up overnight and made the front page, and girlfriend saw it. I didn't give any names, locations, but there was enough specific information that she had no trouble figuring out it was me. So Thursday, while at work and still unaware of all this, I got a dreaded "we need to talk" text. Yep, all caps. And I was like, welp, I'm dead. She was feeling hurt and angry when she sent that text, but she said she had time to read through some of the comments and think about things. And she wasn't as upset when she came to my apartment later that she brought food. Still, she said I had no right to tell the whole internet about our relationship problems, and I agreed, apologized. She knows I'm writing this update, and she's going to read it before I post. The reason for that being, she admitted the internet actually made some good points regarding our relationship problems. We talked for a long time Thursday night. She said she knows her parents treat people like hell, and that they control her and her siblings with money. It's partially a cultural thing, according to her. Girlfriend was born and raised in the US, but her parents grew up rich in a different country and moved here a long time ago. She said they had a hard time assimilating with upper-class Americans and flaunted their wealth because they're socially insecure. Girlfriend also implied that kind behavior was a lot more acceptable in their home country in the 1980s, and they never changed. She grew up seeing them act that way, and at least when she was younger, thought it was normal. On top of that, girlfriend's mom is emotionally and physically abusive. She said her mom used to slap her for talking back and once cut up all of girlfriend's clothes and bedding after an argument over her going out with some high school friends. My girlfriend said she's still afraid of her mom and has a hard time standing up to her. She also got very little affection from her parents growing up. It seems like that was all replaced with material things. So to her, being cut off from her family financially is the same as being cut off emotionally. All that being said, my girlfriend doesn't expect me to visit her parents again. She was very apologetic about how they treated me and also about not calling them out. She was really hurt that I said I thought I was wasting my time in the earlier post, and I said I was sorry, and I am. I was still raging a little when I wrote that. I asked her about maybe letting her parents cut her off financially and living on her own. It wouldn't mean she has to go no contact, but their relationship would be based on something other than money. We've been talking about moving in together for a while now, and she actually suggested she move out of her townhouse that her family pays for and into my apartment. I'm totally fine with this. We've been together for almost 3 years, and I think we would have moved in together a while ago if her parents weren't so against it. She's really nervous about being on her own financially, but she's willing to try it. We spent hours yesterday going through her finances and coming up with a budget. It's going to be a big change in how she lives and thinks about things. I'm managing my expectations as far as spending is concerned. No one can change their habits overnight. We're not combining our finances or putting her name on the lease. The plan for now is to split the cost of rent and utilities, and she asked me to put her on an allowance for spending her own money. She also gave me the credit cards her parents pay for and told me to hide them. It's weird to me to have this much control over another person's finances. We're going to give it until my lease is up in March. My apartment is a little small for both of us and all our stuff. And then, assuming all this works out, we'll look for a place to officially live together. She isn't going to tell her parents right away, but she promised she will before March. To everyone who's wondering, her parents are from Mexico. Girlfriend has a job and her own income. She is the co-owner of a business and makes a decent living on her own, just not nearly enough to fund the kind of lifestyle she's used to. Also, before you say, she shouldn't have been mad that he posted about their relationship on Reddit, please, for 1 second, put yourself in that situation. You're casually browsing the front page and find a post about your personal life that was obviously written by your boyfriend and makes you sound like a complete piece of crap. In that same post, your boyfriend says he's thinking about breaking up with you. That's now just out there for the whole world to read. You can't say that wouldn't be alarming. She said, "It felt like a slap in the face, which made me feel pretty crappy for posting it at all. All things considered, I think she was pretty reasonable about it. Ultimately, she was cool about me posting the update and actually wanted to make sure I thanked Reddit for the perspective. No, she is not demanding to approve this update. She's just involved now, as she should be, since she's half of this relationship." Relevant comments. Dude, that's wonderful to hear. This is a really good eye-opener for her. She should bring everything she can of hers little by little to a safe location, so her parents can't just decide that all her stuff actually belongs to them somehow. Tell her to grab all of her official documents, passports, birth certificates, savings bonds from her parents. If they feel they can control her financially, they may also restrict access to those types of documents. I wish you good luck, though I'm very skeptical about her pulling through. She happily took money from her parents until now, being 28. It would have been one thing to have a savings account filled by them, but they sponsored most of her lifestyle. So, yeah, good luck. When I was 21, I dated a guy who was too old for me. Kevin was 37, an older student in my university program. I'd just gotten out of a bad relationship and thought Kevin was great. Of course, there were red flags all over the place, but I was so naive back then that stupid me didn't question this. Kevin and I dated for 6 months. He quickly told me that he loved me and asked me, pretty aggressively, to move to his home city to be with him after graduation. Great, right? Still ignoring the red flags. Except in my last semester, I was diagnosed with cancer, and my world kind of fell apart after that. The day I got my diagnosis, Kevin made out with another woman at a party in front of me, and I left the party in tears. He broke up with me that night by email saying that we weren't a good fit anymore because of my impending medical emergency, that he was only with me because he took pity on me after the end of my previous abusive relationship, and by the way, all our friends thought I was annoying and no one liked me. I felt punched in the gut. My memories of that week are a blur. I had to drop out in the middle of the semester and get a medical leave of absence with the university. In the meantime, Kevin would follow me around campus, demanding to know why I wouldn't talk to him, and that I forgive him. I remember looking at him like he was insane. "So you're apologizing for what you did?" I asked. "Of course not. I didn't do anything wrong," he answered. "But it's not fair that you're angry at me like this." I told him to go to hell and just focused on getting my paperwork squared away and moving back home for what became a lot of chemo. Honestly, this period of my life was a freaking nightmare, and I don't like thinking about it. I became suicidal and was diagnosed with depression, so I was seeing a psychiatrist while getting chemo. I lost most of my friends because I guess people didn't know how to deal with my illness. A few stuck by me, and those people are not only still my friends today, but now I even work with some of them. In the months after I left school, Kevin would badger me over text, saying he didn't know what happened between us, and demanding again that I forgive him. I was in the middle of more chemo, so I told him I forgave him just so he'd leave me alone. As soon as I forgave him, he vanished, and I never heard from him again. I blocked him on Facebook just to be sure he couldn't slink back. Later that year, between chemo, I run into this strange woman at a university event off campus. I've never met her before, have no idea who she is. A bunch of students and alumni are having dinner together and she's talking about her fiancé. Guess who it is? Kevin, of course. I'm confused because a few months of dating is a short time to get to know someone before you get engaged. But what do I know, since Kevin was very fast in telling me he loved me and asking me to move in with him. But when I ask how long they've been together, she says something crazy like 3 years. At this point, I'm in total shock and realize Kevin was having an affair with me, that our whole time together was a lie. I had no idea. I left in a daze and cried in the parking lot. In hindsight, I should have warned this woman, but at the time I was in shock, sick, not interested in starting drama at a table full of strangers, and I was exhausted. I thought later of finding her on Facebook, but I didn't know her name, and I worried telling her would start another round of harassment from Kevin, so I dropped it. So the good news is, I'm obviously still here and happily in remission. 2 years after leaving school, I finally felt human again and went back to finish my degree. By then, I was doing really good. I made new friends, finished therapy, and started my career. Life is totally different now. I'm well known in my field and have been invited back to my university as a guest of honor. My professors want me to speak to the students, and I'll have a chance to network with other visiting alumni who are a big deal in my industry. It's an amazing opportunity, and I was looking forward to it. Only problem is, I saw Kevin's on the guest list, and so is a woman sharing his last name who I assume is his now wife. When I saw it, my heart sank. The guest list is small, maybe 50 alumni, so we're bound to run into each other. I can't not go, because this event is important, and I already promised I'd be there. Plus, I don't want to avoid doing things out of fear of running into this asshole from my past. How do I handle running into Kevin again? Do I treat him like a stranger? What if he tries hugging me like we're old friends? It's something he would do. I also have no clue if I should say something to his wife. I don't want to open this can of worms from my past. I'm losing sleep over this and don't know what to do. Relevant comment. Somebody said, I'd treat him like a stranger. If he acknowledges you, keep a blank, empty smile, like you would give a total stranger who seems to think they know you. When he reminds you who he is, oh gosh, I didn't even recognize you, it's been so long. And then if he tries to initiate any conversation beyond that, you shut him down. Sorry, I really don't have time to talk as you turn and walk away. If he tries to initiate physical contact, you block it and firmly say no. Do your best to keep other people around you at all times. Have a witness in case anything happens. But otherwise, pretend that he doesn't even exist. Either he was going through a very awkward time when you dated and he is a better person now, or he's still as bat hell crazy as ever. If he's better, he'll appreciate being treated like a stranger because he'll also be uncomfortable. If he's still crazy, you lower the risk of inviting, in his crazy brain, more contact from him. Plus, I think it's nice to give people like this a little bit of love. Our relationship had so little impact on me that I have to be reminded of your existence. Original poster replied, if he's still crazy, you lower the risk of inviting, in his crazy brain, more contact from him. Good point. I blocked him on Facebook long ago, but just to make sure I blocked his email address just now. I deleted his number long ago, so I can't block it, as I don't even remember it anymore. Another comment. You don't give him any attention, and you certainly don't approach the girlfriend, although you would like to share a few things. Update 6 months later. Well, thanks for your feedback, guys. I wanted to give you an update. So something I failed to mention in my last post is that my mom used to teach at my alma mater before she recently retired. She didn't know about my brief relationship with Kevin years ago. After writing my post, I decided to share with her everything that happened. Mom immediately got this weird look on her face and said she knew exactly who I was talking about because she used to teach in my department. She said, "I don't think Kevin will be a problem for you." When I asked why, she said, "Trust me, you'll see. That guy is kind of a loser." So I went to the event, and it was amazing. I took some of the advice here and brought a girlfriend, so I would never be alone in case Kevin tried to pull something. I met a bunch of alumni and ran into a couple people who I lost touch with when I got sick. Everybody was thrilled to hear how well I'm doing, and my speech got an ovation when I was done. Anyway, Kevin showed up with his wife. I don't know how to say this without sounding mean, but he's gotten fat and is going bald. I was surprised at how old he looked until someone told me he's almost 50 now, which means he lied to me when we were dating and said he was younger than he really was. Also, I heard from old classmates that Kevin is still studying for his degree, plus working nights as a security guard now. Kevin was the only person at the event who avoided me. Like, it was obvious. I thought he was going to avoid me all night until I accidentally found myself alone for 30 seconds, which is when he nervously approached me to congratulate me. I smiled, said thanks, and kept moving. He tried cracking a dumb joke on me later, but I just ignored him, which seemed to frustrate him. Overall, I just spent the night focused on the people around me and forgot he existed. Interestingly, he managed to repeatedly piss off a bunch of people, including his wife and one of the deans, throughout the night with stupid comments. It got so bad that people started a running joke about what an insensitive moron Kevin was. I'm so glad I went and didn't allow one jerk from my past to make me hide. I had a great time and was surprised at how unafraid I felt when I saw Kevin again. The memories from that time of my life were so traumatic, but now he's just some jackass I once knew. I'm not sure now what the hell I ever saw in him or why I was ever scared of him. Oh, and by the way, I recently started a great new job that came with a big raise, which means I'll have my student loans paid off this year. Life is good. Thanks for your help, Reddit. The comments got locked fast. 2 things I wanted to add. An acquaintance recently told me that apparently Kevin and his now wife were in an open relationship for a long time, including while he and I were together, and that she closed the relationship again a few years ago because she got annoyed. I can only imagine the shenanigans. I feel better knowing he didn't cheat on her, even though he still cheated on me, and of course he didn't tell me about his wife at all. Whatever. My favorite part of the evening, I blocked Kevin on Facebook years ago, so he's had no updates whatsoever on my life, including the fact that I go by my birth name now. In college, everybody called me by a nickname, but no one's used it now in years. So all night, he kept calling me by this super old nickname. People kept looking at him like he was crazy and asking, "Why are you calling her that?" And Kevin got super frustrated because he realized everybody was in on some joke that he didn't understand. No one would clue him in, I guess.